Thank you for joining us. We are taking a live look at I-35W at Chicago Avenue on what is expected to be the busiest post-Christmas travel day on the roads. If you are still planning on heading out, AAA says it might be best to wait for after the evening rush, so about 7 p.m. The busiest times are expected to be between 2 this afternoon and 8 tonight. If you are catching a flight, we are also keeping an eye on the flights today. Right now, MSP Airport is reporting 4 cancellations and 9 delays from arriving flights. 26 departing flights are being delayed. The weather should help make the drive go smoothly, and you might even need sunglasses. Say it ain't so, John. Getting a little break, huh?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's going to be nice tomorrow. We're talking about 40 degrees. Again, it's a warm day today. At some point, we're going to need a coat. And I did look long range. I think mid-January. I know it sounds crazy to say, but I do think winter actually arrives at some point in the middle of January, which means 0 degrees at some point. Not now, 34. We are above freezing again. 35 in St. Cloud, 30 in Rochester. Clouds are pretty thick right now in the Twin Cities. Even seen a couple of flurries. But that's all from this larger system that overperformed in Wisconsin today. Roads were kind of a disaster when you went to Black River Falls, Wisconsin Dells area on 94. So if you're driving that way and you want to wait, it'd be better because it looks like that bulk of snow is now moving south towards Cedar Rapids. And there it is. You can see a lot of snow very close to us, but it did not hit us. Now, we do have an update on a weekend chance of snow. That is going to be coming Saturday night into Sunday. Let's map that entire thing out for you in my full forecast.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, John. Our lack of snow so far this season means city crews who would normally be out plowing have more time for other projects. That includes things like filling potholes and fixing catch basins. It also means they've saved money by not having to be out on the road as often.
You see all the equipment behind me that wears out every time you put it out, so there's cost savings, fuel savings. So there has been some savings, but the downside of this is that we overspent in the spring part. So the savings that you have here, they kind of cancel each other out.
Leaders with the city do want to remind everyone that when the snow does come, it is crucial that you slow down and move over for plows. We've seen how the temperatures have led to a slow start for businesses that really rely on snow. But in Duluth, they've had a positive effect on the shipping industry. The lack of ice has made it easier for ships carrying coal, iron ore, and grain to move through at full speed. So far, more than 650 ships have gone through the port of Duluth Superior. The season ends on January 5th and begins again in March. New at noon, Minneapolis police say one man is facing charges after officers found more than 1,700 pills containing fentanyl. Police say they were in the area of Elliott Park when they tried to pull a vehicle over for a warrant. 4 people ran out of the car. 1 person was caught, and police recovered the pills that tested positive for fentanyl. Bernard Mack is now facing a felony drug charge. 5 months ago, cannabis became legal for adults in Minnesota. However, we still don't have a permanent director for the Office of Cannabis Management that regulates the industry. The first director the governor appointed last fall resigned after reports accused her of illegally selling products. The state is starting to craft the rules for business licenses that experts predict hundreds of people will apply for. That may not be ready until 2025.
Is it that you want to be a grower? Do you want to be manufacturing products? Do you want to be a retailer? And so it's really important to just think through what role it is that you're interested in playing in this marketplace, and then beginning to build strong relationships.
The state expects people will be able to start buying cannabis from dispensaries in the first few months of 2025. We are following a developing story today out of UW-La Crosse, where the chancellor was just fired for what the UW Board of Regents calls reputation-damaging behavior. Joe Gao was let go as chancellor last night for engaging in explicit sexual acts with his wife online. University President Jay Rothman released a statement saying Gao's actions were abhorrent. Because Gao is tenured, he will be placed on paid administrative leave as he transitions to a faculty role. We're taking a live look at the White House this afternoon. The Biden administration is now sending $250 million in military assistance to Ukraine. It includes air defense munitions, anti-armor munitions, and artillery ammunitions. This is the last package the U.S. can send without congressional approval. The Biden administration is also asking lawmakers to approve $60 billion in Ukraine aid that is currently stalled as Congress debates border security concerns. Today, Israeli forces are attacking towns and refugee camps across Gaza, and thousands of people have been forced to flee homes and shelters. NBC's Josh Letterman shows us where Israel is warning it will increase military activity next.
Israel now appears to be on the verge of a second front in this war on its northern border with Lebanon, as a member of the Israeli War Cabinet says that the stopwatch for diplomacy is nearly over. He says if the world does not do what it needs to do to clear Hezbollah militants from southern Lebanon, then Israel will do it itself. This morning, an Air Force Twitter account from the Israeli military said that a drone crossed into Israel from Lebanon and was intercepted. And there have been air raid sirens going off in the north following what Hezbollah said were 30 rockets that it launched at Israel's northernmost city, Kiryat Shmona, just yesterday. This as Israel is expanding its efforts and its combat in southern and central Gaza with new airstrikes targeting refugee camps in central Gaza. And it comes as the U.S. and Israel are now really at odds over what should happen in the next phase of this war, as well as who should really control security of the Gaza Strip the day after this war concludes, if Israel is able to succeed in achieving its goal of eliminating Hamas. Two Israeli officials now tell NBC News that U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken will be headed here to Israel at the beginning of January. Now, the State Department has not confirmed his travel plans, but it would mark the fifth trip that the U.S. Secretary of State has paid to the region just since this war started. And it comes after a top Netanyahu advisor was in Washington meeting with U.S. officials at the White House and the State Department this week, not only about the humanitarian crisis, about the next phase of the war, but in particular about what should happen after Hamas is eliminated.
Today, doctors are warning that by next week, a brand of asthma inhalers will no longer be on the shelves. On January 1st, Flovent is being taken off the shelves. Physicians say its generic counterpart works just as well. However, it doesn't seem to be as widely covered by insurance. Doctors are urging patients to get new prescriptions or sort out any coverage issues as soon as possible. If you know someone who is looking ahead to getting their driver's license, there is a new option out there that could save some hassle. Here's Danny Spiewak.
There's a big change happening in driver's education across Minnesota thanks to a new state law that was passed in the last legislative session. Thanks to that law, drivers that are studying for their permit tests can now take fully online instruction courses without an instructor present. The state has already started to authorize certain driving schools like A+ Driving here in White Bear Lake to teach these classes online. Although there were some concerns when this proposal was floated a couple of years ago, driving schools are starting to embrace it and say that this does not replace the in-person driving tests that will be needed for the actual driving test when they turn 16.
All right, thank you, Dan.